Test, test, test. What's going on, y'all? What's going on? Let me know how we sounding. Let me know how we sounding. So we got a few setups we're looking at today. Some are I don't really like right now, to be honest. We had some big retracements take place last night, which is good for today, but I want to see price push up a little bit more on a couple of these charts, especially GJ and GU. We do got news today as well. We got the infamous ADP. Going to be going live with members and students during that, so members be on the lookout for that link, but we'll be going live later on during the ADP news today. But if y'all was in the live stream yesterday, a lot of charts ended up going as projected. If y'all was in the live stream yesterday, US30 YM ended up flying yesterday and Monday. So we're not. I said we wasn't gonna look at it yesterday, but I ended up taking a setup on it yesterday. If you saw my story, it should be still on my store. It shouldn't have been expired yet because I took that setup like pre-New York or something like that. But US30 made all-time highs again. So we could possibly look for another setup, but I'm going to switch to NAS100 today. All right, and I'm going to switch to NAS100 today because NAS looks like it's about to try to go back to the all-time highs potentially today. So we're going to be looking at NAS100 today. Okay. The reason why we wasn't looking at NAS100 for the past few weeks is because if we look here, the past few weeks, price has just been reversing, right? We haven't had any higher highs or lower lows getting made. We've just been playing ring around the rosy. So that's why we haven't been trading it. But now that we're back here, we're back at the bullish momentum, and we can see possible buy setups here. Right, I did a nice buy setup last night. That wasn't last night, that was yesterday during the New York session. So we're going to be looking for buys on NAS today. Then we're going to be looking for continued buys on gold, GU, and GJ. Everything's still extremely bullish, so we're still looking for buys on everything. GU, we can see a buy setup here. I do have this buy idea here. It is kind of holding at support, so this isn't a terrible buy setup. I just don't like how I rejected. Now, we are still technically bullish, but I'd much rather have had it held this level or held this level, but we are still technically bullish here, so we can still look for buys here. If price can maintain 34.85 as support, you can still look for buys going to 35.05. I just much rather have held these levels, so I might not even take this setup, right? And that's another thing about trading. Sometimes, again, I like to only go for A+ setup. So even if I can see a chart do something, if it's not really at an A+ setup, or I don't really like the conditions, even if it does go my direction in favor, I'm okay with missing that, because I know when I do have an A+ setup, I'm gonna take it and make some bread. You see what I'm saying? So we're going to be mainly paying attention to right now gold, and then we're going to still watch GJ and GU, but as you can see, they've just been rejecting last night, so I'm kind of going to just let them retrace and do their thing. So if y'all was in the live stream yesterday, you know we took a gold buy. We ended up taking an L, but we ended up making it back. So even if y'all weren't in the Advanced Play Signal Playmaker University, which y'all should be, link in bio. No, I'm not on TikTok, link in description. If you would have paid attention to 930 open, it did the exact move we was looking for a London session, right? Literally off the same exact level, did the exact same move. So we made that back in the New York session, but we also canceled out that loss when we took this GJ setup New York session as well, right? We took this at 8 o'clock, 8:15, nice 1 to 4. So that canceled out that loss, even if we didn't re-enter going into New York session. Let me know if the music's too loud, if the music's good on y'all's end. Let me know if the music's too loud, if the music's good on y'all's end. Let me know if my audio sounds good as well. So yeah, so we're gonna pay attention to GU though, just out of curiosity. I want to see how price reacts. But I definitely want to see another gold buy setup here. So we're going to go for the same exact setup we took yesterday, right? If we can maintain 44.60 as support, we're going to be looking for buys going back up to 44.84. You already know the drill. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat. When we're looking at your charts, drop them in the chat. Make sure to like the live and subscribe if you haven't already. We're almost at 4,500 subscribers. We can get to that easily. Just dropped a new video for y'all yesterday. Where's my phone at? Here it is. Just dropped a new video for y'all yesterday. Make sure to check that out after the live stream is over. Dropped the video for y'all on Monday as well. I'm about to drop it in the chat right now. But you already know the drill. We're just chilling, patiently waiting. And if you do not understand how to trade news, like I said, I'm going live with members and students today during ADP, and we should be going live Friday as well. I'll let you know that changes. to see what the market's got in store for us. Mike signing out. I appreciate it, Johnny. Appreciate you, Johnny. Ain't you say you had questions for me the other day? You missed my live. What was it, yesterday or Monday? You came in late after we already ended. Didn't you say you had questions or something? What's up? Or was that somebody else? I'm pretty sure it was you though, but I could be wrong. Let me see. Pretty sure it was you though, but I could be wrong. Yeah, it was you. So what's up? Or did I already answer the question in TikTok live? Y'all got any questions? Drop in the chat. It's the best time to ask me questions because I'm on the charts and you got me in real time. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok as well. Y'all see that scrolling at the bottom of y'all screens. Instagram playmaker_weight, TikTok _playmaker_weight_ post daily on both pages. So this GU setup is not terrible. It's just if it breaks past this point, breaks past the support level, I'm not going to take buy setups on it. That's the only thing. It's the last line of defense, but we are still technically bullish. All right, it's the buy setup. That price flipped back on Monday. So if y'all did not watch the Sunday chart analysis yet, make sure to watch the Sunday chart analysis. Yes, it is Wednesday, but like I always tell y'all, the Sunday chart analysis goes over not just what we see price doing Sunday night going into Monday, but what we see price doing throughout the entire week. All right, y'all. Charts already been going as projected since Sunday, but we're about to see what this next 5 minute got in store for us. As far as NAS100, we're going to be looking for buys on NAS100. So if we can break above and maintain 25,650 as support, we're going to be looking for buys going to 25,780 and possibly back up to the highs at 25,910. We could also see short-term buys if it does retest 25,530, but I'd much rather have it hold this level because if it retests there, I'm probably not going to go for a buy. I'm only going to go for buys on NAS. Excuse me. I'm only going to go for buys on NAS if we can hold this level of support right here. I could do a tighter stop loss, but I'll just keep that stop loss for now. Yeah, I like that GU setup. The only thing that has a setup right now is GU. So if I was to take a setup before New York, it's going to have to be between gold and GU. Gold's in an interesting position as well, right? So this is why you have to, I might talk about it in today's TikTok live, but this is why you need to get your copy of the playbook or on Playmaker University, because the same reason why price on Monday and yesterday pushed up. I know a lot of people was probably confused because we had that big ass rejection take place last week on Monday. But like I always tell y'all, red does not mean sell, green does not mean buy, right? The reason why price pushed up yesterday and Monday is because even though we had this big ass rejection take place, we was not in a downtrend yet, right? We was close to being put into a downtrend, but we wasn't quite in a downtrend yet. Yeah, this GU setup's not terrible, it's tempting. It's not a terrible setup right here. If I was to take a setup before news. About to cut into the chat in a second, y'all. Give me a second. Make sure to hit that first link in the description, join the free student, free Telegram. Y'all see on your screens how we did last month and last quarter. Go ahead and hit that first link and check it out for yourselves. How do you get the horizontal lines on here? Can you break that down? Yeah, so these are my key price levels. I go over this in Playmaker University in 101 sessions. The reason why I call them key price levels is because, yes, I treat them as support resistance levels. Yes, they are support resistance levels, but there's support resistance levels all over the place. Every rejection you see is a support and resistance level. So we can't just trade simply based off support resistance levels. We need to trade based off the best support resistance levels, right? That's why, for example, every time we take a setup, we enter off one of these levels, right? That's why when price hit this level, it reacted the way it did. That's why when price hit this level, you can see how it's being treated as support and resistance and resistance and support and resistance, right? So when you have the combination of the price action technical analysis playbook, when you know the cycles, the rules of the trend, so you're always going with the flow of price, and no matter how funky the markets look, you can tell if there's an uptrend, downtrend, reversal. And when you have these key price levels marked off, you literally know everything that's happening at all times. And then when you have these key price levels marked off, you're prepared for the next possible rejection, but also you're able to find out the best place to enter at. That's why when we take setups off these key price levels, we see little drawdown, but also we see explosions in our direction shortly after, because we're entering at based off the best levels to give us the momentum and the flow of price, right? So every time people talk about manipulation in the markets, yes, it's manipulation in the markets, but I learned how to use it to our advantage. You see what I'm saying? Just like with GJ. That's why with GJ, as soon as we enter the setup, obviously there's going to be some drawdown from where you entered at, but I'm talking about as far as going into the red. You see what I'm saying? After we enter that setup, what did price do? We was in profit the rest of the day, right? Obviously price rejected, but that's why it does that, just like right here, right? And then look how price reacted when it hit this level. Turn from resistance to support, right? But also, like for example, we look at gold. Look what happened when gold hit this level, right? This was the entry we was looking for yesterday. We re-entered here. Look how price treated this level from resistance, turned it to support. Look what happened off the 930 candlestick. The volume came in, pushed up. Where did price halt at? Right at my next key price level. It's not a coincidence. So when I was taking this trade, I knew the best place to enter at, but I was also prepared for the next possible rejection. So that way there's no getting blindsided or not having enough time to secure profits or close. You see what I'm saying? And if you're in the advanced play signal or Playmaker University, I always notify y'all when these levels get hit. That way you can prepare on your end as well if you want to hold, close, or most importantly, you're not shocked or surprised when shit pops off. You see what I mean? Like when we go into the advanced play signal room, I also sent this in Playmaker University as well. You can see at 5 a.m. yesterday, I sent these screenshots right here, right? I let them know TV1 barely got missed. And then I say game plan for pre-New York. Let's see if these levels can hold going into New York session. So all the setups that played out, not only did I tell y'all to look for these setups at the beginning of the week in the Sunday chart analysis, before the news events, before market open, but then on top of that, hours before New York session, I affirmed what we was looking for, right? So this was US30. Oh, let me put it on the other screen. All right, so this was US30. I said we're either going to look for buys here or buys here if we can hold that level as support, right? And then when we go to US30, what did US30 end up doing yesterday? Well, let's find out. Let's find out. Okay, this was US30 yesterday. Again, when did I send this screenshot? I sent these screenshots out at 5:22. This was 4 a.m., 4:45, 5:15. So literally right here, you see the market structure to the left. Let me zoom in so y'all can see that better. I'll be forgetting y'all can't see it as clearly as me until I zoom in. All right, this is the market structure to the left. Same exact market structure you see, right? So again, did we go for sells here? No. Why did we go for buys? Because like I always teach y'all, we don't chase price, we follow the flow of price. And then what did price do? 7 a.m. and off the 930 open candlestick, it exploded to the upside again. What happened when price broke this level and held it at support? It exploded to the upside. You see what I'm saying? Look how price reacted when it came to this level. Broke it, turned it to support, continued to push up. Look how price treated this level as resistance and then blew through it, right? Same thing that happened on Monday, 930 open. Price rejected during London session, did a retest right off the 930, exploded to the upside. You see what I mean? And then what was another one? Only one of them didn't do a full move we was looking for. All right, this was gold. Again, you can see the loss we took on gold. What did I say? I said we could look for buys here or look for buys right back at our entry from London session. Did I say we're going to go for sales here because we saw this drop to the downside? No. And again, notice it's on the key price levels. Then when we go to gold, what did gold do? Again, this is the loss we took during the London session live yesterday. We go to the screenshot. What did price do? Look how price reacted to the level. Look how price reacted to the level. Broke out of support, pushed up. Look where the volume stopped at, right at this next key price level. Look how price turned this level from resistance to support. Then off the 930 open, did the move we was looking for. You see what I'm saying? And then look how price failed to hold this level of support and rejected, right? Look how price is reacting right here. So again, when you have these key price levels marked out, you literally have a cheat code on your screen because you're prepared for literally everything that can happen, and you know the best places to enter and exit at. But yeah, I go over that in Playmaker University and one-on-one sessions. If y'all got any questions, drop in the chat. When we look at any charts, drop in the chat. Again, y'all, we do got news later on today, so we don't see any action between now and 6 a.m. Like I always say, just wait for, in this case, just wait for the 8:15 news to play out and then see what prices got in store for us 9:30 open. Now, we do have 10 a.m. news as well, so do keep that in mind also. But yeah, y'all, we had some retracements take place yesterday, so we're just watching, see how price plays out right now. If we do see a setup, you know I have no issue taking a setup before news. We do it all the time, but that doesn't mean I'm going to force a setup just because I want to trade. So we still have to wait for our rules and confirmations to be met. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok, y'all. Y'all see it scrolling at the bottom of y'all screens. Instagram, Playmaker_Wait. TikTok, _Playmaker_Wait_ post daily on both pages. Just dropped a new video for y'all yesterday on YouTube. Make sure to check that out if you have not already. Make sure to check that out if you have not already. Let's see what else we got going on here. Are you taking your trades on TV or do you see something else? Or do you something? No. I literally am showing you my charts. This is literally what I'm looking at. That's why I showed you all the stuff behind the scenes. This is literally what I look at. This is literally what I look at to take my setups. I do all my analysis on TradingView. Obviously, I got my brokers and shit on my phone and on my other computer screen, but this is all I use. This is all I use. I don't use no indicators. I don't got no bots. I literally just use this. Well, that's a lie. I use this, and then I use the price action technical analysis playbook, works on stocks, forex, options, futures, and crypto. Link in the description. Get y'all's copies. Alright, new 15 just popped up. Let's see if GU can hold this level. Let's see if gold's gonna do something for us. As far as how we wrapped up 2025, I'm kind of debating when I'm gonna post it, but I might just do it today or Friday. Fuck it. I just don't want to be too spammy with the monthly recap, quarterly, because last month was a big month because it was the monthly recap I had to post and calculate. I also had to do the quarterly recap and then also do the recap of the year, right? So I still have to tally it, but I'm pretty sure we either did it close to the exact same or better. I know we took way more trades this year than we did last year. But as far as the win rate average compared to not last year, compared to 2024 going into 2025, I'd have to see that for myself. But a sneak peek of how we did last year, y'all. Again, hit that first link description on the free signal free Telegram. Once you do that, all you gotta do is scroll to January 4th. And you can see how we ended quarter four. October we went 30 wins, 4 losses. November 27 wins, 3 losses. Then last month 23 wins, 5 losses. Ending the quarter 80 wins, 12, giving us an 87% win rate, 305,000 pips caught. And then as far as quarter three, you go to October 3rd. As you can see, July we went 17-2, August 23-2, September 16-3, and in the quarter 56-7, giving us an 89% win rate. And then if you go to July 3rd, you can see how we did, or July 2nd, excuse me, you can see how we did quarter two, April, May, June, 52 wins, 6 losses, gives us a 90% win rate. And then quarter one, 44 wins, 5 losses, 90% win rate. So we've been killing it. We've been killing it. Now, as far as how we did 2024, to wrap up 2024, where's that shit at? January 6th. That's funny. So, did that yesterday, last year. Today's January 7th. That's funny. So, I might post it today. We'll see. Either today or Friday. We'll see when I post it. Either today or Friday. But this is how we wrapped up 2024. 181 wins, 23 losses, 89% win rate. But you can see, obviously, October, we took twice as many trades. November, we did better. December, we took more trades and did better. We took a lot more trades this year compared to the year prior. But I'm really mainly going to be looking at it to see what the win rate is. Now, this is also not including risk tree wars. That's another thing you don't realize. That's why I started doing it this year, or towards the end of last year, I should say. Started adding the risk tree wars, because pips isn't just one part of it. Risk tree reward is more important, in my opinion, than pips. Pips are important and more important when you have smaller accounts. But once you start trading larger capital or funded accounts, pips matter, but risk reward is more important, right? When you have a smaller account, it's both. Damn, G ended up doing the move I was looking for. It's all good. GJ pushing as well. That's a good sign, though. So, if we can break above these levels here, I would much rather take a buy setup here. All right, y'all took these setups. Shout out to y'all, but I'm not in these setups. That would have been a nice push right there. As soon as I started talking about some shit, it took off. It's all good, though. All right, so we're going to see our price reacts, though. Gold just broke this level, so we're gonna be looking for a retest right here. Gold can maintain 44.60 as support. We're gonna be looking for buys here. Let's see if gold can hold this level. We're gonna look for the exact same buy set that we took yesterday. GJ, we can break back up. And last night, I didn't notify the members because I wasn't in it, but last night we did hit another TP on GJ, and then it rejected after. But I wasn't in that last night. Let's see if we can hold this level right here. That's a strong push right there. But again, we do not break out trade. We wait for the break and retest. So we're either going to wait for price to retest 44.68 or retest 44.84. But we are just chilling, y'all. We're chilling, patiently waiting. It's going to be interesting to see what NAS does today. It's going to be very interesting to see what NAS does today. New 15 about to pop up in a little bit, so we're going to be looking for a retest right here. Man, and my prop firm fucking patched my method, man. So on one of the prop firm, well, hold on one second. So I don't recommend this. Fuck it, I'm gonna say it. I don't recommend this unless you know what you're doing. But I be aggressive with my prop firm accounts. Now that doesn't mean I be doing that full porting dumb shit, right? But I'll risk like 2% per trade. But on the bigger prop firms, at least with my prop firm I use, like with the 50K, 100K, 200K accounts, they do not let you put those fucking lot sizes down. Like, I can't even risk, like, they stopped me from doing this shit. Like, on smaller prop firms, you can do it, but like, I guess because the lot size is so big, they're like, what the fuck are you trying to, they're like, it's like they're saying about it's over marginalized, even though I calculated my lot size, so I know I'm not risking more than 2%. I guess the broker is like, that's too big of a lot size for US30. That's too big of a lot size for gold, my boy. You can't do that shit. So I would have made a stupid bag yesterday, but I couldn't risk 2%. I could only risk 1%, but I still made some bread. But that's just the downside when you have a lot more capital, depending on the broker or prop firm. Can't risk what you want to risk, but hey, at least I was still able to risk 1%. So again, we're about to see if we can hold this level here. New 15 about to pop up. So we're about to see if we can get a perfect retest and possible entry right here. That's what we're going to be looking for. If y'all got any questions, drop them in the chat. When we look at any charts, drop them in the chat, and I got y'all. Y'all already know the drill. We're just chilling, patiently waiting. We're just chilling, patiently waiting. All right, so imagine we would have FOMO'd and broke out traded. We'd be in an unnecessary drawdown right now and at potential risk for a stop loss getting hit. All right, there's no rush to take setups. Same thing with G, right? It's right back to where we left off, right? It's like nothing happened. So now you could take that setup, but I'm not taking that setup. And then gold rejected. Again, there's a method to the madness, ladies and gentlemen. There's a method to the madness. I ain't gonna lie, GU is looking juicy right here. I'm not gonna lie, GU, it's kind of starting to look juicy. Like I said, it's technically still bullish. This is the last line of defense right here. So if we can maintain this level of support, it's still bullish right here. We just had harsh retracements take place last night, but this is still technically bullish right here. Gold's going for round 2 as well. G might try to push also. So again, if G can hold 34.85 support, you can't look for buys going to 35.05. And then gold, we're looking to see if we can maintain 44.68 as support. That's what we're looking at right now. That's what we're looking at right now. Can you explain how that is bullish? I see bearish. So I'm going to answer that question. But I'm also going to say this. If you are able to, right? I get people have work and shit. If you are able to, you need to tune in to the TikTok lives. I don't know when I sent that link out on Telegram, but if you've never been in the TikTok lives is where I break the shit down to the T. The TikTok lives, I usually go live around what time? Like around 2 o'clock, 2:30, at least 3 times a week. So we went live Monday, went live yesterday. Should be going live today as well. I'll let y'all know. But we go live at least 3 times a week between Monday and Thursday during New York session between 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. And you need to be in those TikTok lives, because those TikTok lives, that's where I break this shit down. All right. I also break all this shit down in the playbook. I promise y'all. And if you watch any of my trade breakdowns, I always pull out the playbook breaking down why we're looking for buys or why we're looking for sells, right? So y'all be watching my trade breakdowns on YouTube and you see me pull out the price action technical analysis playbook and y'all fast forward and skip that, you're missing out. So to answer your question, red does not mean sell, green does not mean buy. I literally also just dropped a video on TikTok. So if you're not following me on TikTok, make sure to follow me on TikTok. It should be posted on Instagram today. TikTok usually gets posted a day before Instagram. So if you're not following me on TikTok, make sure to follow me on TikTok. You see it scrolling at the bottom of the screen, underscore playmaker way underscore. It will be getting posted either today or tomorrow on Instagram. But what you have to understand is that red does not mean sell, green does not mean buy. Okay. Now, why does red not mean sell and green does not mean buy? Let's go over it. But before we do that, let me go ahead and start scheduling these reels on Instagram before I forget. Those just joined the live, we have not entered this trade yet. That's just a trade idea. Make sure to hit that first link in the description. Join the free Signal, free Telegram. Hold on one second. Let me go ahead and schedule these posts so I don't forget. But we're about to break it down in a second. But this is why I always preach understanding the rules of price and market structure. So give me 1 second. Let me just schedule some of this stuff so I don't forget. Yeah, GU pushing. All right, so let me do it really quick on here. So one of the very first things you're supposed to learn if you look into trading, it's not candlestick patterns, it's not what broker you use, it's not Twitter posts. You need to understand market structure. And this is where people get confused and thrown off because the internet completely ruined the basics. I don't know what the fuck is going on in these streets. Okay? Uptrend, downtrend. All right? What does an uptrend consist of? It consists of higher highs and higher lows. What does a downtrend consist of? It consists of lower lows and lower highs. Right? So when we go to actual chart and we go look at an uptrend, what are we going to see? Well, let's find out. But let me make sure we don't miss this entry point too, because G was pushing, so gold might try to do something as well. All right, cool. So we see this as a downtrend, right? We can all agree this is a downtrend. What does this downtrend consist of? Does this downtrend only consist of red candlesticks? No, it does not. It has red and green candlesticks, right? But why is it a downtrend? Because it has lower lows and lower highs, right? We see this uptrend right here. This uptrend has both red and green candlesticks, right? It doesn't just have green candlesticks, but it's still an uptrend. Now, why is this an uptrend? Because it has higher highs and higher lows. So both uptrends and downtrends have red and green candlesticks. It's literally impossible for red to mean sell and green mean buy. That is how you fall for fake outs and liquidity grabs, because the internet teaches you to chase price. What I teach the members and students at Playmaker University is to not chase price, but follow the flow of price, right? So yes, with GU, it is a red candlestick. But if we look at the market structure, we're still technically bullish, right? So if you don't tune into the TikTok lives, you need to tune into the TikTok lives. You don't got your copy of the playbook, you need to get your copy of the playbook. This is literally the whole point of the playbook. So you understand how the markets work, and so you can avoid fake outs, liquidity grabs, and also understand What's the difference between a retracement, a retest, a reversal, or if the trend is going to continue or not? All right. So yes, it's a red candlestick, but red does not mean sell, green does not mean buy. A perfect example: gold. Gold started off the week red, didn't it? Didn't gold start all the way down here? But did we go for sales on gold? No, we did not. Why did price shoot up yesterday and Monday? Because even though we had this juicy red candlestick, this did not put us into a downtrend. This was a reversal, right? So again, red does not mean sell, green does not mean buy. Very, very, very important. Very, very, very important. So we're about to see how this next 5 and 15 looks. Gold's still kind of chilling here. GU's pushing again. Let's put this back on NAS. All right, same thing with US30. Right, this is why you need to identify the trend on the bigger time frames, which I talk about in my trade breakdowns on YouTube. Make sure to watch the trade breakdown I dropped on Monday, or go to the playlist trade breakdowns, over 100 videos in that playlist. Right, but it's just like US30 yesterday. US30 yesterday did this big ass drop to the downside prior to New York. But why did Way's crazy ass tell everybody to go for buys here and buys here instead of sells here and sells here? The same reason why when the volume picked up, it shot to the upside, because we're in an uptrend, right? This is where the fake eyes come into play. Same thing with Monday. I told y'all we was looking for US30 buys on Monday. Same reason why it exploded to the upside when the volume kicked in, because red does not mean sell, green does not mean buy, right? And even when you go to the bigger time frame, how did the week start off on US30? Let's pull it up, right? The beauty of TradingView. And this is why I say watch the Sunday chart analysis, right? Because this is how price ended on Friday. Hit that first link in the description. Watch the Sunday chart analysis. In the Sunday chart analysis, what did I say about US30 at the beginning of the week? Again, everything I post is to help y'all out. This is what US30 was looking like at the beginning of the week. What did I say we was looking for in US30? I said we was looking for a buy still. Even though we had this big ass drop to the downside, I said we were still bullish and we were still looking for buys. You can literally see my, right? So why did I say we was looking for buys even though we had this big ass rejection and all this other shit? It's because, again, I'm not making my decision based off a candlestick. I'm making my decision based off the market structure, right? And then when we pull out the playbook, let's pull it. I'm just going to do a quick example. I don't really do it too much during these live streams, but I'm just going to do a quick example, right? So let me go ahead and pull out the playbook really quick. So again, we mark out the market structure. What do you see? A lot of people would say sells, but again, do we make our decision based off a candlestick, or do we make our decision based off of market structure? We make our decision based off market structure. That's why you watch any of my trade breakdowns on YouTube. What is the very first thing I always say? The first thing we got to do is identify what cycle we're in. Do I say we need to find the FVG to see for elemental Ps? Do I say we need to find the rising triangle and the angry trapezoid? No, I say we need to figure out which one of these cycles we are in. Okay, so then people would look at this, because it doesn't look like a clean uptrend or clean downtrend. That's when you start to look at a specific candlestick. But again, red does not mean sell, green does not mean buy. So when we retrace the market structure, what do we see? We see an uptrend, right? We see bullish momentum right here. Right, we see clear bullish momentum. So to understand what's taking place here, you got to take a trip down memory lane. You look to the left to explain what's happening in the present and what could potentially happen in the future, right? So we see here how this is a resistance level and price is potentially about to hold this level as support, right? So this is the higher low, this is the higher high, and we have a potential new higher low about to get formed right here, right? So what does the playbook say about the rules of the uptrend. And this is what I do literally for like 2 to 3 hours, 3 days out the week on TikTok. Literally just be breaking shit down. So if you don't view my TikTok lives, you need to watch my TikTok lives. So we're gonna go to the rules of the uptrend, just like I do in my trade breakdowns. Again, I promise y'all, I do not be hiding shit. The only thing I don't break down in the videos is how to mark on my key price levels, because you have to actually know what the fuck you're doing to do that. Okay, but everything else is literally what I do. What does it say right here? For the uptrend to continue, we need to break past the previous high, which gives us a new higher high. Right? Look at photo below. Boom, this is the higher high right here, right? Let's make this red right here. This is the higher high, right? Then it says what? It says we also have to respect the support level the higher low is resting on. Higher low, right here. Okay? It doesn't say anything about nothing else. No, it doesn't say anything about bearish candlesticks, bullish candlesticks. It says higher high, higher low. Support. Okay? So, even though price is retracing here, did it break the support level? No, it did not. Right? That is why when price ended the week here on Friday, I said we're still bullish, because now we have price still respecting the support level. So we're still bullish, right? Because like it says right here, rejections or reversals happen, but a reversal does not mean the trend is going to change. As long as price doesn't turn the support level into resistance and or make a lower low, we are still in an uptrend and still looking for buys, right? So again, is this a lower low? No, it is not. How do we know this is not a lower low? Because again, simple market structure. How does the uptrend go? The uptrend goes higher. Whoops, the uptrend goes higher high, higher low, right? The downtrend goes lower low, lower high. So yes, we see a rejection here, but this is not a lower low. This is not a lower low. Okay, so that is why when Monday and Tuesday happened, well, this was a couple weeks, this was 2 weeks ago, right? So that's why when we go to the next following week, price pushed back up. So now we need to see what? We need to see if price can break this resistance level, which it failed to do so, right? And this is how price ended last week on Friday. So again, we're in the same situation. This is the new higher low though. So this is the new higher low. This is still the same higher high, right? So now we got some equal highs getting formed, and look how price rejected on Friday this same support level, right? So even though we see this drop, we did not break the rules to the uptrend, which is why Monday price did that, and why yesterday price did that. And also notice how yesterday price turned that resistance level into a support level and then took off. Again, this is why it's important to understand the rules of price. So when I tell y'all to watch these videos, follow me, get y'all's copy of the book, I don't just be saying that for kicks and giggles. It's because y'all need this shit to fully understand what's taking place and what's going down. But I heard some beeps and alerts. Okay, so gold's still doing that. GU's pushing, GJ's pushing. Cool, cool, cool. Cool, cool, cool. Alright, so hopefully that makes sense. Let's go back to this right here. Again, y'all, we got news at 8:15 and 10 o'clock today, so make sure to keep those times in mind. And if you're in that GU setup, shout out to you. I'm not in that setup. I don't want to take that setup, so I didn't take it. But we talked about it, so if you're in that setup, shout out to y'all. But I'm looking for the next levels personally. Alright, so let's see what else we got going on. If you got any questions, drop in the chat. When we look at each chart, drop in the chat, and I got y'all. I work at night right now. Just subscribe to TikTok or download just for you. I appreciate it. So if you work at night, you should be able to watch it before the night shift. Like I said, I go live between Monday to Thursday, at least 3 times out the week, around 2 o'clock, 2:30 to like 5 o'clock. We went live yesterday, we went live on Monday. And that's what I'm doing for like 2 hours straight, just breaking down market structure. Right, so the London session lives, I'm actually looking for setups. But during the New York lives on TikTok, I already took the setup, so I'm going over the trades we took that day, and also going over what I just broke down in a lot more detail and depth. That was just a quick version, but I do that all the time on TikTok. So whenever you're in the Telegram and it's not London session and you see me say we are live, no, we are in a TikTok live and we're cooking. Alright, it's already 4 o'clock, which is fucking crazy. I feel like I just started the live stream. Let's see what else we got going on. Truly, thank you, my G. No problem, no problem. It's called the playbook for a reason. And that's why people get fucked up, right? That's why last year during September, October, when gold, US30, NQ, and SPX and ES were all making all-time highs, everybody was getting fucked up when it was actually very simple. If we're in the uptrend making all-time highs, why do you keep on trying to short the all-time highs? Why not go for buys, right? That's why we had no issue during that time. But everybody on Instagram and TikTok was acting like trading was just so hard. Like, I literally saw a post yesterday on TikTok. And this is the shit that kills me, bro. This dude, he's got a decent amount of followers. I guess he took a loss on US30 or NQ yesterday, even though, of course, if he was here, you know we said go for buys because we're in the uptrend. He's going to make a post talking about those that took buys today. Those are going to be the same people that are going to be upset when it doesn't work the next day. What the fuck are you talking about? If we're in an uptrend, go for buys. Downtrend, go for sales. Like, what are you talking about? That's why people get fucked up, because as soon as their strategy doesn't work because they're counter trend trading, they get upset and they want to blame the markers and say everybody that actually caught the move is lucky. But literally, I told y'all we was bullish at the beginning of the week before market open. So is it luck, or do we actually know what the fuck we're talking about, right? You know, that's why a lot of people get fucked up, because they're on the internet trying to catch these small moves or try to compete against these imaginary friends they're calling the bears and bulls and shit. And that's why people get thrown off and confused when price goes the opposite direction. And instead of understanding is because you're counter trend trading, they say, oh, that was the buyers that just came into play, or the sellers. It's like, no, that's not what happened. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, that's pretty much it, y'all. So nothing really going on. If you took that GU setup, shout out to y'all. Again, the game plan is the same. We're bullish on everything. Now, GJ and GU did do some retracements yesterday, so depending on how they react, we could see reversal take place, but we're still bullish on. I forgot I had all this shit on here. Let me delete this shit. That was from the TikTok live yesterday. I was like, what the fuck? That was from the TikTok live yesterday. Right, but we are still bullish on these charts, right? So if GJ can break back above and hold 211.40 as support, we're going to be looking for buys going back into the highs. If GU can break above and maintain 35.05 as support, as well as maintain 34.85 as support, we can look for buys going to 35.20, possibly back up to the highs here at 35.45. All right, y'all. And then gold, as long as we maintain 44.50 as support, we're still bullish. US30 made all-time highs again, so I'm going to be looking at NAS to see if we can go back to the all-time highs. So NAS is retracing. I'm not looking for a buy here. You could see short-term buys at 25.530, but I'd much rather look for a buy if we can hold 25.650 as support. If we can hold 25.650 as support, we're going to be looking for buys going to 25.790, 780, excuse me, possibly to 25.920. All right, y'all, that's the game plan for today. Members, we will be going live during ADP. Again, we have 8:15 news and 10 a.m. news. We'll be going live 8:15 with the members and students. So you want to go live with me, you already know what to do. Click those links in the description, join Advanced Places Room or Playmaker University. And yeah, I dropped a new video for y'all yesterday and Monday. Make sure to check that out. Shout out to everybody in the live, y'all. Shout out to everybody's been alive since the beginning. Shout out to everybody's been alive since y'all joined. We should be live on TikTok. I'll let you know if we're going to go live on TikTok today. And like always, you want to contact me directly, you can DM me on Instagram, Telegram, or TikTok. I respond to all messages. And those that do comment on YouTube be tripping sometimes, right? Because the reason why I knew who you was, Johnny, is because, believe it or not, I be paying attention to my comments. I have a good memory. So I know people, some people disappear for a year, they come back, and they think I don't remember them, and they're surprised when I remember them. Like, I remember names for a certain extent when it's kind of important, right? Like in person, you might have to say your name a few times, but if I see it, especially on my YouTube, I pay attention, right? So I responded to your comment yesterday and your comment like a day or two ago as well, but sometimes YouTube doesn't show you, so sometimes you have to go back to your comment or go back to the video and see if it was response. YouTube be tripping sometimes. But that's why as soon as you hopped in, I was like, weren't you the one asking the question? But yeah, y'all. So we're gonna let the markets do their thing. But again, this is why we do not break out trade. Imagine if we would have FOMO'd when price broke this level, we wouldn't went for buys. We would have took a loss. Again, it's not the market is out to get you. It's just you're rushing the setup. You see what I mean? But also retracements are part of the game. All right, peace. We out.